Figures for acts of violence on tourists are difficult to come across, but travel notices are an easy way for travelers to identify which cities to avoid. The U.S. State Department puts out travel notices when there is a long-standing, extended situation that causes a country to be too risky for regular travel. So in this video, we're going to discuss top 10 countries you should never visit. But before starting the video, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to never miss out on any of our videos. Number 10. Venezuela. If there was a competition for country most likely to tip into civil war in the near future, the winner would probably be Venezuela. The Latin American socialist state boasts some of the most spectacular natural wonders on Earth, more history than you can shake a proverbial stick at, and a president who seems hell-bent on driving his nation into the ground. The murder rate is off the charts. As many as 28,875 people may have been homicide victims in 2015 from a population of 31.1 million. That would put modern Venezuela on a footing with Colombia at the height of its drug-fueled civil war. Number 9. Afghanistan. Afghanistan has been a basket case for so long now, it's almost hard to believe it was once a laid-back highlight of the hippie trail between London and Melbourne. Since then, it has become synonymous with bad times and brutality. Even today, 15 years after the fall of the Taliban, this Texas-sized nation of 32.5 million is still the sort of place where you don't want to travel without making prior funeral arrangements. The causes are as familiar as they are depressing. Radical Islamist insurgents and mad warlords are running rampant over huge swaths of the country. The Taliban are experiencing a resurgence. Petty kidnappers are still addicted to the idea of whisking careless visitors away for ransom. In a show of strength, militants recently managed to storm an Afghan army hospital, slaughtering nearly 40. There are suicide bombings, homicides, and general nastiness galore. Many governments advise against staying in hotels or visiting restaurants, in case you end your evening messily splattered across an area the size of a football pitch. At times it can seem like peace will never return to Afghanistan. Number 8. Iraq. Think twice before traveling to this cradle of civilization. American civilians traveling to Iraq risk kidnapping, injury, and death in addition to arrests, fines, and expulsion. According to the most recent report from the State Department, insurgent groups within the country still regularly attack both Iraqi security forces and citizens. There is a threat of terrorism in Iraq. Car bombings, vehicle ambushes, drones, mortar and rocket attacks occur weekly across the country. Further attacks are likely, particularly during religious or public holidays. The security situation could worsen with little warning. Number 7. Colombia. Tens of thousands of U.S. residents safely stay in Colombia every single year for various reasons. Security in Colombia has developed considerably in recent years, together with traveler and business travel endpoints such as Bogota and Cartagena. But hostility related to narco-trafficking continues to distress certain country regions in addition to big cities, chiefly Buenaventura, a Pacific Ocean harbor town mainly recognized for drug trading and brutality. Number 6. Libya. Libya is mired in civil unrest. Crime levels are high and gunfire between various armed factions could break out with little to no notice in most locations. Westerners are frequently kidnapped and held for ransom. Militia groups may capture or detain individuals illegally, and protests can turn violent. Crime levels in Libya remain high, including the threat of kidnapping for ransom. Westerners and U.S. citizens have been targets of these crimes. Terrorist groups continue plotting attacks in Libya. Number 5. Mali. Terrorism is high in Mali, where armed groups are known to attack locations ranging from places of worship to nightclubs, Malian government offices, important infrastructure sites, or locations known to attract Westerners. Avoid all travel to Mali, including the capital, Bamako, due to the threat of terrorism, kidnapping, and banditry. If the security situation in Mali deteriorates, the ability of the Embassy of Canada to Mali and Bamako to provide consular services may be limited. Violent crimes including armed robbery and kidnapping are also common, particularly during local holidays or seasonal events, and are often facilitated by the use of roadblocks. Number 4. North Korea. Known for its secrecy and its third-generation dictator, Kim Jong-un, North Korea is considered an extremely risky destination for international travelers. The lives of people in North Korea are very tightly controlled and policed, and once a tourist enters the country, there is no guarantee they will be allowed to leave again. U.S. citizens are currently banned from traveling to North Korea. The U.S. government instituted the ban in 2017 after an American student named Otto Warmbier who had been detained in North Korea and imprisoned for 17 months, was returned to the United States in a coma, passing 1 week later. The ban is currently renewed 12 months at a time, with the most recent renewal having taken place in August of 2022. Number 3. Syria. Once a jewel of the Middle East, Syria's historic capital of Damascus has been reduced to a shadow of its former self after 8 years of civil war, entangling nearly every military power in the region, including the US, Russia, Turkey, and Iran. The State Department currently advises American citizens not to travel to the country due to terrorism, civil unrest, and armed conflict. The security situation in Syria is extremely dangerous due to military conflict, airstrikes, high levels of violence, terrorism, and kidnapping. Chemical weapons could be used in conflicts. If you're in Syria despite our advice, avoid possible terrorist targets. While you're there, seek professional security advice. Stay in a safe place and limit your movements. Keep stocks of food, water, fuel, and toiletries. Many foreigners, especially aid workers and journalists, have been kidnapped. Number 2. Central African Republic. These countries all have no consular assistance for visiting Westerners, and most government websites warn against visiting them even if you absolutely have to. Extreme violence or the threat of extreme violence accompanied by a breakdown of the social fabric. So total it make Iraq look like a tourist paradise. Central African Republic, CAR, a nation nearly the size of Texas, CAR is home to a mere 4.9 million people, all of whom are desperate to kill one another. The population is divided between Christian and Muslim communities, both of whom take turns seizing power and trying to eliminate the other. In 2013, it was the Muslims' turn to persecute, kill the Christians. In response, the Christians formed heavily armed anti-Baqala militias, and now they're the ones doing the persecuting. The whole situation is as volatile as a washing machine full of home-brewed nitroglycerin, and just as likely to explode at any moment. CAR is an extremely poor, nearly undeveloped country. Where getting around is next to impossible, and most of the country is covered in impenetrable jungle. Number 1. El Salvador. Since it overtook Honduras in 2015, El Salvador has had the highest murder rate in the entire world. The pint-sized Central American nation, roughly the size of Wales, has been a killer's paradise for years. The murder rate in 2016 was 91 killings per 100,000, higher even than in Venezuela. The capital, San Salvador, recorded 137 homicides per 100,000. This was down from a staggering 190 in 2015. By way of comparison, the global average homicide rate is a mere 6.2. In 2015, you were over 200 times more likely to be murdered in El Salvador than you were in somewhere like Great Britain. Interestingly, as a foreigner, you're less likely to be targeted than a native. Most violence occurs between street gangs, and kidnappers tend to focus on snatching wealthy Salvadorians rather than gringo backpackers. Notorious street gangs like MS-13 have been known to target random buses and brutally slaughter everyone on board, simply because the vehicle's owner refused to pay an extortion fee. Let us know your opinion in the comments section below. This was all for today. Hope you liked the video. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay safe, and we will be back soon with another video.